Hey moms, welcome to the Gather Moms podcast. My name is Kate.
And I'm Rebecca. We've created this space just for you because we're both moms and we get you.
Yes, we believe there truly ain't no hood like the motherhood, and we need to be in this together. We also believe we can't mom well without Jesus, so you're going to hear us talk about him too.
Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Gather Moms and make sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss a single episode.
All right, mamas, let's jump in.
Hey mamas, welcome to the Gather Moms podcast. We are so excited to have you with us, especially over the holidays, because we're doing something special. We are re-airing the top 3 listened to episodes from 2022 of the Gather Moms podcast.
That's right.
So last week we aired our Diet Interrupted, which was the #1 most listened to episode. Such an appropriate timing for that. I mean, here we are right after the holidays, just checking out those pies left on the counter.
Yep.
It's just all calling my name.
Girl, it's just all these sweets are just sitting around everywhere and,
And I got an espresso machine for Christmas, so I am making coffees left and right, adding sugar, sweetener, caramel, you name it. I'm a regular barista. So today we want to air for you another episode. This is episode 76. It was called Help. I need some money, help. I need more money.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure this is very appropriate for me at this time of the year as well.
I mean, yes. Here's what I think is interesting about these 3, the top 3 episodes. Each 3 of these, I'm going to leave the third one as a teaser until you listen next week. But each of these are like, wow, these are crucial mom things, each of them. It's not like, so it's not, it's funny to me that these are the top 3 because this is what stood out to us. And also like, man, it's a great time of year to talk about all 3 of these things. Because if we could get these 3 areas kind of in a good place as we head into the new year, what a difference it could make.
100%. Obviously, you could listen to these any time of the year and they would be great. But I do think it's just, one of those beautiful timing on God's end where he says, all right, guys, let's listen again and figure out what we're doing.
Yeah.
The cool thing about this episode for me with Help with Money is that when we aired this originally, it was in September. I think it was end of August, September. My son had just had emergency surgery while we were on vacation. That's a whole nother story.
Right.
And I ended up taking a part-time job because the medical bills were out of hand and I needed to help contribute to the family. So I've been working that part-time job this fall, have loved it, and have seen God meet our needs. And then just a month ago, my son had to have a second surgery. We're hoping it's the last one. And all those same feelings just came back. Is he going to provide? Is there going to be enough? Is there more that I could be doing? How can I save? And it reminded me that those trials are coming all the time. And what we do with them is what's important. And I had learned from the first one that God had provided, that he had opened a door for this job and he was making the ends meet. And so this time around, it was just like a step of obedience to go, God, I've seen you do it before. I think you're going to do it again.
Yeah.
And so here we are, January 1st or whatever, heading into January, thinking about the new year. And some of you are probably wondering, oh my goodness, I way overspent the Christmas budget. How are we going to get it back? And so we're excited for you guys to get to listen to this again and just remind yourselves that God is your provider. He wants to meet all your needs according to his riches in Christ Jesus. He is not skimpy or cheap. In fact, he always meets our needs in more than what we need, in abundance. And I was reading this morning in Romans 8:31-32, it says, what then shall we say to these things? If God is for us, who can be against us? He who did not spare his own son, but gave him up for us all, how will he not also with him graciously give us all things? Mamas, your God is a provider, and we want you to hear today that he's going to provide and meet every single need that you and your family have. If we just wanted to get real practical just for a couple seconds before we jump into this episode, just a couple things that I am personally pulling out. Number one, I'm going to clean out my emails. I have got so many marketing things from all these places I was shopping for Christmas. Like in order to get the coupon, you got to click subscribe. I'm about to unsubscribe from all you people. So maybe you just take, an hour and just go through your emails and unsubscribe. The less I see, the less I want, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Resist the urge for more. Like, all of us have gotten some beautiful gifts for Christmas. We've spent time with family. What if we just enjoyed those for the next month? What if we just did not buy another single thing? Even
Right.
though I know everything's on sale.
I know. It's so enticing. Yeah.
These businesses are like, yeah, you're going to save a whole extra $1 if you buy it this week. No, you don't need that $1. Let them have it. Just stick with what you do have. And that's the thing. Like, enjoy what you have and put your money into the things that bring you joy. And if you've got passion areas or things, experiences you want to do with your family, that is so much more important than adding another sweater to your closet or pair of shoes, to your shoe rack. And so it's actually kind of interesting because one of the things I'm passionate about is Gather Moms.
Yeah.
And we have an opportunity coming up where we would love for you to join with us and partner to make a difference in the lives of mom, because we would love for you to donate your money to, what are we having?
Our Gather Moms podcast live. You guys, we are so excited about it. This is a fundraising event for us, and your $50 donation will buy you your ticket, your meal for the night, all of the amazing things we're going to give you. And, we're so excited about this because businesses and companies and wonderfully generous people have partnered with us to help provide for the needs of this event. So your $50 donation is going to go directly to Gather Moms to help fund the dreams that we have for this next year. And so we cannot wait to do this with you. And so we hope that you get your ticket right away because they are going on sale Tuesday, January 3rd, and it's limited availability. So make sure you get it right away, gathermoms.com.
And just mark your calendars for Sunday, February 5th, 2023, because that will be our podcast live. And y'all, we're going to hang out and we're going to record a podcast with you, like in the room. You're going to laugh and it's going to be on the podcast. It's like you're going to be famous. It's going to be amazing.
It's going to be so fun. I cannot wait.
So, hey, let's jump into this previously aired episode number 76 called Help, I Need Some Money.
So we're in this series of help, and we're kind of looking at like, what are we hearing moms say, the moms that are admitting what they need help about, or for us, where we need help.
Yeah, come on. I mean, we're like, hey, I need some help on this. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. So one of the things, Rebecca and I, that keeps coming up in our conversations is that we need help with like the crazy economy that we're dealing with and the finances. And
girls, just say it. We need some money.
Money.
Show us the money.
Yeah.
Where's the money?
Help.
I need some money.
Help.
I don't have any money.
So, I mean, really, it's just kind of crazy. And I think we even referenced that last episode or a couple before that, Jeremy and I, we had to sit down and like relook at our budget because we haven't reevaluated things since inflation hit and everything. So you guys, Rebecca and I, we wanted to talk with you guys about finances. And so let me tell you something. That means talking about econ, right? The only class I got a D in at A&M was microeconomics.
I never even took that. What is that?
Good for you because it is the worst.
You got a D in it?
Yes.
How did you handle that?
Not well. No, not well. It's the only class. And I never even made a C, So it hurt me. And it was at Texas A&M, and I was in this huge lecture hall. And the prof would be speaking, and I'm like, okay, I think I'm getting this. And then we'd go to take a test, and I'm like, oh, and I'd get the test back, and like clearly it was not translating for me. I even went to at A&M, we had something called 4.0 and Go, and you'd go and get like tutoring. So there'd be like a guy that would teach the class again, like dumb it down.
Wow.
Yeah. And we'd have practice tests and everything. And I even went there and I still got a D, dude.
What'd you get on the practice test?
I don't even remember, but I remember.
I mean, that would have been a good indicator for how you were going to do on the real test.
But I remember feeling like, okay, I got this now. And then still I would fail that dang test in that class.
Listen, you just go to a private Christian university. You don't got to be taking no micro econ. We just like, hey, God's going to provide. Okay, yay!
So, economics and money and stuff can feel overwhelming to me. And I feel like it can be for all of us. And so, you guys, I did this deep dive into like the state of our economy. I watched all these Dave Ramsey videos. I have read a million things. So I just kind of tried to simplify it down of like, what is happening? What is the state of our economy?
You're a practice prof. Give us the dumbed down version.
Yeah. So
Help us.
So, but maybe take this all with a grain of salt because this is the girl that got a D in her economics
Oh,
class.
so we're saying it could be wrong.
But I mean, I did my best. I did my best. Okay.
Holy Spirit,
That's right.
Come be with us right now.
That's right. Okay, so we're dealing with inflation, right? And everybody talks about inflation. And do you know what the percentage that inflation is right now?
16%.
Wow. Did you just pull that number out?
Yeah.
No. Okay, it's 9.
I wanted to sound confident.
Okay, let me tell you what inflation means. Inflation refers to changes over time and the overall level of prices of goods and services throughout the economy. The government measures inflation by comparing the current prices of a set of goods and services to previous prices.
Which we obviously know is higher.
Right. So I don't know if there were like it's like from last year. I think it's year to year.
I think
guess.
it's year to year too.
Okay,
Yeah.
that sounds good. Okay.
Year over year.
Okay, now this super simplified this for me because we've been seeing, since 2020, since the pandemic, right? We've seen like this banana stuff happening, right? We know there's like a supply problem because
Yes.
there's all these shipping issues. Then we know there's a gas and oil issue. Then when there's like some computer chip thing happening.
Ooh, people can't drive their cars.
Right.
They're buying cars, but they don't actually have the car because the car doesn't have the
so
chip.
there's no chip.
There's no chip.
Right. So then there's like this used car crisis. People are trying to get those, but then those prices are way up. We're seeing like all these wild things happening. So I loved this, summarized it for Kate and her low skills with economy. So I liked that. Listen to this. This says the recipe for today's inflation. Start with 2 years of pent-up consumer demand from pandemic lockdowns. Then mix in supply chain disruptions that reduce the availability of everything from computer chips to diapers. Add in ultra-low interest rates, which made lots of cheap money available. Finally, stir in a war in Ukraine that sent energy prices soaring. Voila, the highest inflation rate in 40 years.
40 years.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Like, we were born. Like, I'm 43, so that was like when I was born. It was cheap. It was cheap when I was born.
Well, no, we were in the middle of a crisis then again when you were born.
Oh. From crisis to crisis.
From crisis to crisis. So I just liked that because I felt like it summarized all the things we've seen happen in the last 2 years.
Yes.
Right? We had this crazy pandemic that caused all these issues, supply chain issues and everything. Then we've had, the oil and gas issues. Then we had like people out of work and now people are going back to work, but they're wanting more money.
And they have to drive their cars and they can't afford the gas to get to work.
Yes. And then you've got, the Ukraine is called the breadbasket, right? So we're having hard time getting wheat and stuff from there.
Yes.
Russia is not the main supplier of oil and petroleum, but they still are a major, and there's this war going on there. So it's just all creating just all kinds of nonsense.
The perfect storm.
So then it said, so consumer prices are the highest they've been in 40 years. On average, grocery prices across the United States have increased 12% in 12 months as of June 2022, the largest 12-month increase since April 1979.
And see, I think 12% is too low. I feel like I'm paying double
Yeah.
at the grocery store. My grocery bill is not just $12 higher. Like if you spend $100, it's not $112. I feel like my grocery bill is like twice.
For
what it's
sure,
been.
for sure. And so you're kind of reading those numbers and going, okay, well,
It feels worse.
right. Okay, but so when you start really getting down into like some of the things that are actually costing more, like take bacon, for example, the average price is just now over $7 a pound, but that's up more than a 25% increase over, it was $5 a year ago.
Yes.
So its protein costs more. Steak and eggs are both seeing a dramatic increase of nearly 20% or more.
Yes.
Have you tried to go buy a steak recently?
No, we don't. We cannot eat steak in our house.
No, people aren't eating steaks
We eat
anymore.
lunch meat in our house.
For Father's Day, he wanted to do steaks, for dinner here. And you think, we're going to eat at home. We're going to go buy steaks. We're going to get, excuse me. No, that blew our grocery budget.
Yes.
For the month.
It's more than going out to eat. You're like, we could have gone to In-N-Out for cheaper than this.
So, and actually, at-home grocery prices have increased a lot, but they've increased less than going out to eat food prices. But those prices are still up, too.
Yes.
I mean, you're going out to eat and you're like, wait, didn't you go get a cup of coffee somewhere the other day?
People, I'm not going to say where it was, but I thought coffee was like $1. No, it was $3.59 for like Like, I have a coffee cup and you're going to pour some coffee in there. I don't have no vanilla syrup.
Right. It's not a latte.
I don't have fancy creamers.
It was the thermos that they bring over to the table, the carafe.
There's no way I drank $3.59 worth of coffee.
And then you still have to tip that person. Did you tip them?
Of course I did. I'm a good tipper.
But then you feel like, I've got to tip you decently because you did come over and pour me coffee.
Yes.
Even though this coffee only, it was $3.50. I don't know.
Yes.
Then all of a sudden you're looking at $5 or more for brewed coffee.
Mine is milk. I feel like
Yeah.
milk is so much more expensive.
Yeah.
And we are bougie milk people. We love some Brahms milk.
Yeah.
Yes, that's all we drink.
Uh-huh.
And I remember when it used to be 2 for $4. You could get 2 gallons of milk for $4.
Okay.
And now it's like $4.99 a gallon.
That hurts.
That hurts.
Okay, so for us, avocados. Now, I can still get avocados at Walmart for like 50 cents a piece, okay? But there's this little Mexican meat market down the street where we like to go and buy some of our avocados. They're so much better.
Yes.
Avocados are so much better. They're huge and they're ripe. Like,
Yes.
if I do a Walmart pickup and they give me avocados, man, you could throw that at somebody and kill them because
I'm going
it's
to
a
use that in
stone.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yes.
Exactly. So I went down just a couple days ago to go get some avocados from there. Can you guess how much each avocado was?
$1.69.
$3.50 per avocado.
Did you turn around and say, I cannot be buying that today?
No, because I really wanted guacamole.
You bought the $3? But you had to buy more than one if you're making guacamole. How many did you buy?
I bought 3 of them
Oh, my goodness. You spent $10.
on avocados alone.
Okay, but that's still cheaper than getting guacamole at a restaurant. Okay?
It is.
So,
It's still, and we were eating it at home, and it makes a ton. But
Then it's like gold. You're like, don't waste this
Oh.
guacamole, kids.
100%.
You better lick that bowl.
Yes.
Yes.
And also, like, this is the fat and protein you're getting for the week.
These are good fats. Eat them all.
Yeah. Well, and because then I made tacos, but we're using ground turkey. It's not like we're eating beef fajita tacos.
Right.
We're eating ground turkey tacos.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Okay, so here's just a few other price. I just thought this was interesting. So gas is, and these are a 12-month increase. Okay, so gas at its highest point was up 58%.
Agreed. Yes. Amen.
Do you remember the first time you filled up your tank?
No,
when
it was
at
ridiculous.
$5 or whatever?
No, because you and I were in high school when gas was $1 a gallon.
Yeah.
I filled up my car for $15.
Yeah.
Now it's like 75. Well, and that's my minivan. You SUVers, you paying over 100.
A lot.
Yes.
Yes. Used cars and trucks are up 35%.
Yes, amen. Bought one of those last year.
Same.
Check.
Airfare is up 24%.
I don't know if I've flown anywhere lately.
Well, that's the thing.
You have. You went somewhere this summer.
Yeah, my parents paid for it.
But then, even though the prices are up, there's no reliability on that airfare.
Oh, airfare is a nightmare.
So you don't even want to go because you're not sure you're actually going to get on the plane.
No, you have to, flying right now, you have to completely change how you're thinking about the flight. Like, you've got to be checking, even the morning you're going to go, you've got to be checking that app to see, is that flight canceled?
Exactly.
Is it going to make?
You're at the mercy of them.
Yes.
Yes.
And then beef is up 20%.
Yes, agreed. That's obvious.
Just in general.
Yeah.
So I did some research on kind of like and those things I just listed, by the way, are the 5 biggest culprits. Another big one is furniture and clothing, but those are less than those 5 major things. When we're talking about a 20% increase, a 58% increase, like that, those are huge.
Yes, that's a lot.
But just in general, everything is up. It looks like from the economists that I read, things are cooling and it's going to get better in 2023, but we've got to make it to 2023. And the government's just putting out this like inflation act to help everything cool down. But I know, see, and
I'm not going to say anything.
Where are y'all getting this money to do this?
I'm not going to say anything. Ooh, girl, watch me some news.
Yeah, but they offset the price of gases and everything, but still, you're like, are y'all just playing with Monopoly money over there?
That's what I feel like. That's actually a great way to think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and then we're seeing houses change now. I mean, here where we live in Texas, but I think it's pretty much been nationally, the houses, I mean, the people behind me sold their house for almost 3 times what they paid for it.
Kidding?
No. And, then you start going like, okay, well, should we sell our house?
No, because we can't buy another one.
No. But you feel that. It was like this frenzy. Did you
Yes.
feel the
No,
frenzy?
the frenzy. 100%. Yes.
But, the interest rates are back up.
Also, now all these houses in our neighborhood have sale signs, and they're not going anywhere.
Right. So I just was watching something on TikTok the other day. I was watching this realtor, and he was saying, I'm curious to see if this happens. If the prices of houses start coming down a little bit, because now interest rates are up at 6%.
Right.
So there's got to be an offset in that
has to.
cost somewhere.
Yes.
But that frenzy that was going on has seemed to like cool down here,
sure.
where we are a little bit.
Yeah, I agree.
So I looked into, there's like some really great mom stuff out there of like kind of some ideas for how we can cut costs and things that we can do. So I just want to get like really practical. One of the things, I watched a few videos, and one of the things that a mom said that really stuck out to me of like things that we can maybe stop buying or where we can cut back. And one of the things she mentioned was just holiday decor.
Okay.
Because I feel like we feel this pressure sometimes to like,
As soon as Hobby Lobby puts it out, we go get something.
right?
Yes.
It's fall. Now our house has to look like fall.
Yes.
Right? It's Christmas. Now our house has to look like Christmas. It's spring, right? And she was like, honestly, think about that. It's work for you to put all that stuff out and then put it away.
Agreed.
It's other clutter that you're having to store in a storage box somewhere. And then it's costing you, and it's not something that's really necessary. For me, that stuck with me of, hey, that is something, because I am so guilty of like, I'm walking through the Target dollar spot and it grabs me. And I'm like, oh, these little cute pumpkins are only $5 each. Well, I just bought 10 of them. So now I've got $50.
Did you really?
No, but that's
Okay, because I stood in front of those pumpkins too, and I was like, I am not paying $5 for that thing. No, girl.
But that's the kind of stuff I do.
Yes.
And I think, oh, I'm getting a deal, but then really,
Yeah.
I'm not.
No. And I probably have those in my attic. I just need to go find them.
Exactly.
Yes.
But that all leads to like the crunch of the storing the decor.
Yes.
And then just, moms, we're already maxed out. Does our house really have to look like fall? If it brings you joy, go ahead. But like, if you already have it, can just use the stuff you have. That's an area where we could potentially cut.
I love that idea. That's great. So practical.
The other thing they're saying, because Christmas is right around the corner, the other thing that they're saying is that there have been all these fires and we are having these issues and stuff. Christmas tree prices are going to be up.
Are they really?
Yes. And so artificial trees, they're looking at like a 25% increase. And then in some regions, especially where there has been fires and things,
I didn't even think about that. Those are burning down our Christmas trees.
yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I need to put that on the news. Nobody's told me that.
Well, maybe it's coming. Watch it come on the news. You'll be like, oh, we talked about that on the podcast. But supposedly Christmas tree prices are going to be up.
Because we always do a real Christmas tree.
Yeah.
And last year it was higher. It
Was
was
it?
Considerably higher last
Okay,
year. But I
yeah.
was like, no, we have to.
Yeah.
What if we don't have a Christmas tree this year?
Well, dog, it would be okay. It would be okay. But you
see
can
the tears in my eyes.
yes, but you have artificial trees. I know you do.
I think we actually got rid of them last year.
Really?
I think we put them out at the street.
I remember you had one out of the street
It
for
was
a while.
free. I was like, somebody come take this. Now
Yeah.
I need it back. Who are you? I'll go get my tree back from you. Give it.
But there's things like that we can look at of like, do we really have to have this? And I just think that's the filter we're needing to put things through now. Instead of living in this place of like, oh, I have to have this, really looking and asking that question, do I really have to have this?
Good question.
So like even yesterday, so I got an email from Old Navy that said 50% off activewear. And I don't know about you, but anytime I get that email, I'm like, oh, I need to get, my kids need things and they're 50% off, But I just bought back to school clothes for the kids.
Yes.
They don't actually need anything.
Right.
But I caught myself shopping and even putting it in the cart. And then I went, wait a minute, Kate. No. You don't actually need this stuff right now. Like,
Right.
the kids are fine.
Yes.
They have plenty of stuff. Like, don't pull the plug up. Don't push purchase on this.
Yes. Advertising gets us in trouble.
Yeah. And so that's, one of the things is, turning off those emails and those notifications so that we can decide when we want to purchase instead of being at the mercy of all of this advertising that tells us
so good. Yes.
you got to do it now.
Right.
Okay. And then there were a couple other things that they talked about that were just really practical. One is obviously carpool. Like gas prices are high. So if you have a mom that's going to the same school as your kid and stuff like that, it cracks me up when like all of the moms on our street will be all pulling out of the driveway at the same time to drive down to the school.
Yes.
Be neighbors. Why can't y'all just like say, okay, I've got this week, you've got next week.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
let's carpool.
Well, and all these after school practices, like we got a bunch of boys in our neighborhood that play football together. We need to all get them in the same car.
That's right.
Yeah, we do not need to all be driving to pick them up.
That's exactly right.
Except that it smells really bad. So when it is your week, it's just really hard. Just kidding.
Yeah, Caleb got in the car yesterday after his cross country meet, and I can't even explain to you the smell.
I know.
Yeah, disgusting.
Disgusting.
And then I'm just picturing, I mean, he's like in a full on flop sweat, and he's sitting in the car, and I'm
Oh,
like,
you're thinking about the car.
yeah,
Get that off my car seat.
yeah. And I'm thinking to myself, next time bring a towel for him to sit on. Another thing is, canned good prices are up, but even still, we don't throw away canned goods. Think about how often you're throwing away fresh fruits and vegetables.
So true.
So when you can sub out, tomatoes, green beans, things like that, and use canned goods there, that actually saves us so much money in the long run.
Yes.
And they're also saying frozen, is still a really great way to have those fruits and vegetables stored away where they're not going to waste.
Right.
You're having them and you can use them when you need them instead of they have an expiration date and you're chunking them.
Yes.
Beans and rice.
Oh, I love beans and rice.
Yes, beans and rice are still a great way to go to keep groceries low. And they even talked about subbing beans for meat. I mean, beans are a great protein, and it's okay to have like Meatless Monday or something. And
listen, we need to do that on our social. Like everybody share your favorite bean recipe.
yeah,
We all can get on the bean train.
yeah, get on the bean train and just, let there be a meatless day. And that's the other thing I saw of just being willing to switch out your proteins. Okay, you may have been doing a beef roast. Well, could you do a pork tenderloin?
Yes.
Start thinking about like, can we just sub our meats? Because that's really what's costing us a lot of money. So I found something that was really cool that I wanted to share with you guys, and it's called the Basket app. So it's called Basket. We'll link it in the show notes. So this is really neat because you can put in your grocery list, and then you can compare. You click compare and save, and you've already clicked like the stores that you like to shop at. By the way, y'all, we've got to listen. Unless you are just doing great right now, we're not going to Whole Foods anymore, right? We are going to Aldi. We are going to Walmart. We are going to Costco, right?
Yes.
But you put in the stores that you want to shop at, and you put in your grocery list, and then it will pull for you what the prices are at each of those stores. So I was shocked, Rebecca, because like my half and half is up to $3.50. I get, there are some things I'm willing to pay
bougie
organic for.
That's all right.
Yes.
I got bougie milk. You got bougie half and half.
Okay, so it's $3.50. Well, Aldi was running a special. It was 50 cents.
Like a sale? It was like a sale.
It was a sale. But even still, it's worth getting my tail over to Aldi.
Yes.
And getting a few things there.
Yes.
Like nuts are historically cheaper at Aldi. Cheeses are less at Aldi. Like there are some things when you start looking, you go, oh my goodness.
Yes.
And we're just having to look at those costs again in a way that we just didn't a few years ago.
No, I agree. And one thing that I've recently subscribed to is a grocery delivery service.
Okay.
Which sounds crazy because you're like, how can you afford that? But I love to shop at Kroger. And what I have found is when I look at the sales online and put things in my cart online and don't go to the store, I don't buy as much.
Yeah.
Because I'm not walking down cookie aisles and chip aisles and just picking things up.
Yeah.
And I'm basically buying the same stuff every week. So
Right.
it's a recurring
Yes.
grocery.
Yeah.
And so they actually bring it to my house now. Next day, it's not same day,
Yeah.
but it saves me the gas money and the time
Yeah.
to go shop. And it saves me money because I really am only buying the things that I know we're going to use that week.
So I am so with you. And I think I do that with my Target app and just doing the pickup because I'll think of something that I need from Target, or for us, like buying birthday gifts that we need that day, like
Yes.
we're going to pick it up on the way
To your party.
to the party. But doing the Target pickup saves me so much money because then I'm only actually spending, the $20, $30, $50 instead of $350.
Because they know when you walk past the dollar spot, you're going to buy a pumpkin.
Exactly. Or I'm like, oh, this rug, I just have to have. No, I don't actually have to have it, know?
Yes.
So just making some choices where we're being more intentional about how we're spending our money. I think it's important for us to talk about this because we're all feeling this strain. It is a universal problem. It's not like anybody's like, oh, I feel like we have such a surplus. We're cutting back on vacations. We're cutting back on family pictures. We're cutting back everywhere because people are strapped for cash. And as moms who are watching, especially the grocery budget, you're looking at your electricity bill, the water bill. We're all feeling the pain. And, we're asking for help because just as a mom community, just to say, we get you. We're in this with you. Everyone is feeling it.
So we wanted to be able to share just some insight from Scripture too, because honestly, God talks about money all over the Bible.
Yeah.
And this is not unique to us in 2022.
Right.
This is something that has been a part of people's lives since the beginning.
Yeah.
And even if you talk to our parents and grandparents, they went through times where goods were scarce, prices were up, things like that. So it's funny when you can remember back to, I thought it used to be cheaper. But this is something that God talks about throughout Scripture. And something that I thought was so interesting is that I read about redeeming our use of money. So you've probably heard about redeem your time.
Yeah.
Where we're trying to make the best use of it, knowing that we have a limited supply.
Right.
And so we try to use our time to do the things that are most beneficial. Same thing applies to our money. We have a limited amount of money, and so we're trying to make the best use of the resources that God has given us.
I love that.
To redeem means to buy it back, to regain possession of it. Instead of letting somebody else determine how I spend my money, I'm going to redeem it for what I know God needs to use for me and my family. And so just that question, how can we redeem our money in a time when it is scarce and things do cost more? So just a few things that I want to share. One is that we are trustees. So God is the owner and we are the stewards. We are trustees of what he has given us. And so we want to make sure that we're using it for his glory. Psalm 24:1 says, the earth is the Lord's and everything in it, the world and all who live in it.
That's good.
Guys, it's all God's.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, even for the unbeliever, it's all God's.
Yeah.
Even for Target, it's all God's.
Yeah.
Even for the advertising company, it's all God's. God is the owner of everything that we see here on this earth, including our bodies. And so we are trustees of that. We want to make the best use of what he's given us. And so when I remember that the money that's in my bank account is really God's money, I spend it differently.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And when I remember that the house that I'm living in is really God's house, I take care of it differently.
That's so good.
And so we're going to redeem our money that way. The second thing we can do is just to be grateful. I feel like we talk about this all the time, the attitude of gratitude.
Yes.
But literally, it solves a lot of our issues.
It's game-changing.
Yes, it's game-changing. Attitude combats the sin of envy. And I think that's part of what our issue is right now. Even with that housing market, when we talked about it was so hot, a lot of that was just envy. That we saw somebody else with a bigger house or more, and we could do it right now. That could happen for us. And so we're just jealous. We see what others have and we desire it. We feel frustrated that we don't have it. And then this is the kicker. We think somehow that God has left us out.
Yeah.
That God has given something to someone else that he's not giving to us.
Yeah.
1 Corinthians 4:7 says, what do you have that God hasn't given you? And if everything you have is from God, why boast as though it were not a gift? When I am grateful for the things that God has given me, it changes the way I look at others. I celebrate their wins instead of seeing it as a loss for me.
Yeah.
I see how well taken care of I am. Even when I think I don't have enough, I have so much. And so this attitude of gratitude, it helps us redeem our money. And then the third thing is just being content instead of discontent. And so just the question of why do we so quickly feel discontent with what we have?
Yes, so quickly. The thing too that, we prayed for or wanted so badly, then we get it. And I mean, in just the quickest amount of time, we're all of a sudden discontent with it and it's not enough.
And as moms, we see this with our kids constantly.
Yeah.
As soon as we buy them something, like, when you're in the store, even the dollar store, and your kid's like, please just buy me one thing. I have to have it. And you get home and they never touch it again.
Yes.
They're so quickly discontent.
Yeah.
But we are the same way. I read this quote from Floyd Allen, an executive at General Motors. He said this in 1929. Advertising is the business of making people helpfully dissatisfied with what they have in favor of something better.
Wow. Doesn't that sound like the devil?
Yes. Helpfully dissatisfied. Oh, but I really do need. No. What you have is plenty. The rug.
Yes.
You have a great rug.
Yes.
You don't need another rug.
Yeah.
You have great clothes. You don't need more clothes.
Yeah.
But that's what our advertising and marketing is doing to us.
Right.
When we see all these ads, all these emails, all these sales, we just immediately feel discontent with what we have.
Yeah. You see for sale signs going up and it's this twinge of like, oh, should I be doing that? Am I missing out on something?
Yes. And I think that's one of the keys is that we just have this natural inclination to think that somehow we've been left out of the gain.
Yeah.
And that really says something about what we believe about God. I mean, what do we think God is doing? Is he kind and attentive? Does he see us when we feel burdened and anxious? Is he good? Does he sustain us in our needs and bless us when we don't deserve it? Is God sovereign? Does he see the big picture of eternity and work all things for his glory and goodness? If I believe those things about God, that he's kind, attentive, good, and sovereign, then I can trust that what I have is enough.
That's right.
That he is providing for my needs. And even if I don't know how the money's going to come in to pay for that electric bill or that grocery bill or that one more thing the school says my kid needs to have, I'm going to trust that he's going to provide in the moment for that thing.
And I've seen him do it. I think we have both. It can, in the moment we can forget, but I can look back and, story after story of how we just saw God show up with exactly the amount of money we needed. And it's so easy in times like this to want to stop tithing, to feel like we can stop giving to the church, or because we just feel like I just don't have anything else to give. But it's in those moments of being faithful to what that God has called you to, and being obedient, that we see him show up. I think when we tithe and we give, it's a reminder of exactly what you talked about, that these are all God's things anyway. I'm just a trustee. And so I'm giving back to him something that was his in the beginning. And in that simple act of obedience, we are saying, I trust you. I don't understand how this is going to work, but I trust you.
Oh, that's so valuable, guys, when you can say to God, I trust you. When you build that in your family, in your kids, in your bank account, God, I trust you. Hebrews 13:5 says, don't love money. Be satisfied with what you have, for God has said, I will never fail you. I will never abandon you. 1 Timothy 6:6-8. True godliness with contentment is itself a great wealth. After all, we brought nothing with us when we came into the world, and we can't take anything with us when we leave it. So if we have enough food and clothing, let's be content. And then Philippians 4:11-13. Not that I am speaking of being in need, this is Paul, for I have learned in whatever situation I am to be content. I know how to be brought low, and I know how to abound. In any and every circumstance, I have learned the secret of facing plenty and hunger, abundance and need. I can do all things through him who strengthens me.
That's so good. And that scripture, we hear Philippians 4:13 all the time, right? But it truly is a scripture about contentment. And it's, I can do all things through him who strengthens me. This is a hard time. We are all feeling the tug, some of us more than others. And just if we can look at what we really don't need, and look to the one who provides truly for all of our needs, and trust him, and just say over and over, God, I trust you, and I'm willing to cut my Starbucks drive-through. I'm willing to cut, these little perks that I felt like I had to have. I really don't have to have those. What I have to have is you, God.
Agreed. So good.
Moms, we're so thankful that you joined us today. We love you. We are rooting you on as you shuffle your grocery lists around and set up carpools and all those things. We are in it with you. We will get through this.
Well, and let's help each other. When you see something on sale at Aldi, or, there's a great coupon out there, share it with your mom friends and let them know. Let's be in this together.
That's right. We love you, moms. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.